What if I told you that 2 big games were complete failures because of stupid, simple mistakes that should have and could have been resolved before they were released? Why the hell am I wearing this garbage?
We made a big thing about that being canceled and dead.
I am so sorry. Okay, now calm down, Ricky, calm down. Okay, hey, we haven't done gaming news in a little bit because, well, there hasn't been too much to talk about after E3 was all said and done, except for how upset and disappointed I was with The Crew 2. But you've already heard me cry about that, so let's see what else is going on in the gaming world.
In this lovely modern era of gaming, we have an infinite amount of options as to where and how we can spend our time in front of a monitor or TV. So if you're a game developer who's creating something that you and your team hope will deliver an entertaining experience, it might be beneficial to double and even triple check your homework before releasing a title that is so obviously filled with bugs that it becomes a laughingstock online almost immediately. We're talking about Aliens Colonial Marines.
Yeah.
When that was released back in 2013, it was mocked for its astonishingly stupid AI characters who would either stand around doing nothing, randomly shoot things that weren't there, or walk directly into the line of fire. Outside of these actual game-breaking issues, YouTube was inundated with videos mocking the AI of the enemy aliens in the game for doing stupid shit like dancing in a corner, just like the alien from Spaceballs lampooning the WB frog. Ask your dad. Now, at least with these types of videos, there was some sort of entertainment being derived from the game, so okay.
It wasn't nothing. They gave some people something to mock. There you go. Have fun with this.
This was before stuff like Goat Simulator, where
it was fun to be broken.
the developers embraced this sort of thing.
So this game, the Aliens game, was so bad that even IGN gave it an unheard of
7.5.
No, 4.5.
Whoa! That's like that's translates to a 0, I believe.
Basically, I think it's a negative something in most states.
On the IGN to like real life opinion scale.
Exactly. So they gave that a 4.5 out of 10, and in their review they stated that the problem lies with the aliens themselves. They're not smart enough to hunt in packs or take you by surprise. They just willfully hurl themselves in front of your short, controlled bursts. So yeah, like we said, when IGN scores you poorly, you know you fucked up.
You done goofed.
I mean, they gave No Man's Sky a 6 for Christ's sake. And we'll get to No Man's Sky. But Aliens Colonial Marines wasn't just a bad game. I mean, by all accounts, it actually was a bad game, but it could have at least been playable if it weren't for one simple mistake. One stupid thing that made the game almost unplayable. That mistake, a one-word spelling error.
Yep. So someone from a modding community noticed that within the code of the game, the word tether, T-E-T-H-E-R, was misspelled, which apparently caused a majority of the problems for this game's AI shit. So in the explanation laid out on moddb.com, they show what the code is, how it was misspelled, what the exact effect that had on the game, and what happened when the spelling error was corrected, saying, when a Xeno is spawned, it is attached to a zone tether. This zone tells the Xeno what area is its fighting space and where different exits are. In combat, a Xeno will be forced to switch to a new tether, such as one behind you, so as to flank or disperse so they aren't so grouped up, etc. Disclaimer, this is inferred opinion, I can't see the actual code, only bits. Whenever the game tried to do this, nothing happened. Now it does.
Because they changed the spelling error.
We fixed the glitch.
They did. Also, as pointed out by Polygon in their reporting, someone from a thread on Reset Era reinstalled the game with the fix and claimed the following. The improvement is immediately recognizable in your first encounters with the Xenos. While they still charge you perched on their hind legs, they now crawl far more often, flank you using vents and holes in the environment, and are generally far more engaged and aggressive. 5 years after release, a single letter managed to overhaul the entirety of the enemy AI behavior in the game. Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Now, as stupid as this whole problem is, it really does shine a light on the fact that in the midst of development, marketing, promotion, and release of the game, mistakes as dumb as this can somehow still happen. And from the outside looking in, it really seemed like the companies releasing this game didn't give a shit and just wanted the game to release on time, no matter what state the current game was in. Which is kind of fucked up, but they paid the price for it through industry ridicule and a $1.2 million settlement with consumers through a class action lawsuit. All because of a misspelled word.
Well, there's a lot more to it than that.
Well, yeah, but it would at the very least be a lot more playable.
Could have gotten bumped up to like a 5.6 IGN.
Absolutely.
But
and maybe not been the victim of a class action lawsuit to that extent.
I think the class action lawsuit was mostly based around the fact that literally all of the promotional footage for the game
was completely inaccurate?
Just like absolute fucking bullshit.
Yeah, and the guy behind it was just like, in the lawsuit, there's a letter from describing his actions at various conventions as he would just do whatever the fuck he wanted. Which is a cool little peel
At least
back.
we got Alien Isolation, a fantastic Alien
Yeah.
game, which will never get a sequel because the gaming industry's fucking dumb. Sad. Anyway, speaking of games that were released far before they ever should have been in order to meet deadlines, regardless of how the game actually played or whether or not the features that they'd been showing off for months were even real possibilities, No Man's Sky is back, baby. Back in the news. And this time, it actually looks like they're finally going to release a version of the game that matches up with all the marketing hype that they'd laid out in the weeks and months leading up to the original release of the game almost exactly 2 years ago.
Well,
Better late than never,
sure.
I guess.
When what should have been the final version of the game was released, it was met with justifiably harsh criticism towards both Sony and the devs themselves, most notably Sean Murray, who was the one going on late night TV showing the game that works and agreeing that yes, you can do these things, even though he knew that they couldn't, at least at the time.
He lied.
Now, this was all mostly because of the promises they'd made to the community and, spent months promoting on what appeared to be a very exhaustive press run. Now, we say final version because, at the very least, the game should have played at least somewhat close to what was being marketed to people. And we understand that essentially no games are their actual final versions upon release now because that's just how gaming works these days. But you should at least release what you said the game would be from the start. That's all we're saying here.
Come on, guys. All right, well, having said that, they certainly had to meet a deadline, I guess, regardless of what state the game was in, even if they had originally hoped that it would include everything they'd promised. So this was most likely under the guidance of Sony, who had pumped a ton of money into the production of the game so that it would be a console exclusive for a certain period of time. And, of course, all the promotional money that went into it. So in the months and years that followed, the game has evolved into what appears to be the game they originally marketed to people. And with the release of their new patch next week, it could actually be the game people thought they were buying in the first place.
Yeah.
Finally.
So the good news is that the patch is free for anyone who already owns the game, and the patch, which they've titled Next, will allegedly, it's not out yet. We've been down this road before. Don't count your chickens until they've hatched. Allegedly, this will be loaded with a bunch of new features and feature the game's first full multiplayer experience.
Wow.
On their official website, it says that the new patch will allow you to, quote, team up a small team of friends and explore the universe together, or be joined by random travelers, fight as a pirate or a wingman in epic space battles with friends and enemies, race exocraft across weird alien terrains, creating racetracks and trails to share online, and personalize your appearance. All things that should have been there in the original game, but they swear are coming out next week. And if it comes true, the trailer makes it look awesome.
Get off my planet, cuck.
Can't wait for all that.
Yeah.
It's also going to include visual updates that enhance the experience graphics-wise, along with some other updates that you can go ahead and read about in the links below.
So, good for them, right?
Yeah.
Sean Murray is finally out of hiding. He's releasing a version of the game that he'd always wanted to release. You gotta give him credit for that, at least. Although, the question of whether or not the game would have ever turned out this way without the constant consumer outrage is, something to bring into the equation.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, the game will now resemble what they'd originally shown off and pitched when it was building towards its original release, which, again, was 2 fucking years ago.
Yes.
History continues to repeat itself, however, especially in the gaming industry, so you can bet a signed dollar, you pedo, that there's already another game pushing Aliens and No Man's Sky out of the way in order to be the most hated, broken bullshit in the entire industry, and that game is The Culling 2.
Oh boy. So the original Culling game was born in the early stages of the rise of Battle Royale style games with a focus on melee combat and a somewhat unique game show style theme. I didn't play it, that's what people say though. But with
So, basically,
that SOS game kinda?
yeah.
Mixed with a little H1Z1?
And a little bit of Radical Heights.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, but with Battle Royale games completely taking over the industry over the past year or so, the bar was set quite high for The Culling 2, the sequel to The Culling. And when it was released earlier this month for the reasonable price of $20, it failed to not only meet those expectations, but instead just failed as a playable and compelling experience at all.
Sorry, Culling fans.
Mm-hmm.
Just a
Cullheads.
You coalheads. Just a few days after its release, The Culling 2 met a similar fate of lawbreakers, and its active player base sank to single-digit numbers.
At one point, it was 2 people playing. Not really the battle royale experience you're expecting.
Yeah, battle.
50-50 chance of winning.
It's like a battle grande, because the grande is the smallest cup at Starbucks. Even though grande means big, they should call it battle grande.
No, it was a 50-50 chance of winning a game every single time.
Yes, I like those odds. Anyway.
Where is everybody?
Yikes.
Yeah.
So that's bad. The game was so negatively received in the days following its debut that last Friday, the Twitter account for the studio behind it tweeted, "It's time for us here at Xaviant to come together for some much-needed soul-searching and to have some admittedly difficult discussions about the future of our studio." Holy shit.
Wow. This was, by the way, this tweet was 2, maybe 3 days after release.
Damn.
So within the same week.
They're trying to beat all of Cliffy B's high scores.
Yeah.
So what was the result of all that soul searching? Well, Xaviant has pulled the game from all platforms entirely, and they're offering refunds for anyone who was unfortunate enough to actually purchase the game.
Apparently, also, they're not even going to try to fix the game so that they can re-release
throw it in the trash
at a later date. Yeah, they're just doing away with it, pretending that it never happened, and are instead
just like they should do with The Last Jedi.
You know what? We should write a Culling game.
I will make the next Culling game.
Yeah, so they're just going to pretend it never happened, and they're going to be releasing an updated version of the original game as a free-to-play.
How does bullshit like this get so far along? Do
New-
people have no shame anymore?
No, they do. This is like the first appearance of shame, where they're just like,
But the shame came way too late.
"You're right. We tried to fool everyone with a game that doesn't even work and is not good. You got us." Okay.
Like when they release this, are they just rolling the dice like, I don't know, maybe it'll work?
I think so. Same with like Aliens. They're like, "Well, we have to put it out." What's worse?
Maybe no one will notice.
What's worse, fans being upset about a delayed game, or fans being furious that they spent money on something that is terrible?
Yeah, I think the second one's worse.
So the updated version of the original free-to-play game will be called The Culling Day One.
And it's gonna have a big day one patch.
Apparently takes the best parts of the first one and reworks them. Anyways, this all happened within the space of 1 week. Again, 1 week, which is insane. But at least they were very quick to admit their mistakes and fix things by deleting the game. At least they didn't pointlessly draw the whole thing out. You got to give them credit for that.
Yeah, you guys are right. This is completely unsalvageable. Just bloop.
They literally threw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah, yes. You know, we thought maybe people wouldn't notice, but this game there's literally no point in even trying to make it good.
You got us.
So we'll just release the old one again. Whoops.
Yeah.
Anyway, as you can see, the video games industry is still as exciting and stupid as ever, while at the same time giving us a plethora of options to play, while all the garbage is taken out to the trash can or the recycling bin.
If you're No Man's Sky. And they turned that shitty cardboard into a beautiful glass bottle, allegedly. Is that how recycling works?
No.
Anyways, watch our other episodes. Everything we said on Monday's episode came true. And then we also did an episode about, it's Tech News Day, but the whole thing's dedicated to Elon Musk, who can't keep his foot out of his mouth and his hands off Twitter.
And it's getting reactions.
You'll enjoy it.
Hopefully this shirt's gonna get some reactions. He got fucking roasted.
Oh, go Valiant. By the time this goes up, the game might be over, but it's playoffs right now. I'll be down there at the arena.
Go team.
Go team.